There it
All right.
is.
So I just popped us up on screen. So
Oh gosh.
we are live now. But
Oh,
if you still have
no.
to run to the restroom or whatever, totally cool.
Yeah, just
I
give me like 0.3 seconds.
Yeah. I just wanted to give the people who are chilling in the chat right now
Yes.
a little
Oh,
something.
it's
No,
You're a chameleon.
Whoa.
no, it's because your walls are like.
no. You know what? We'll just do this because that looks better. There we go.
Okay.
There's no hole now.
There's just not enough separation.
Yeah, no. On the green screen. Okay, let me get this up.
Yeah, your background, Darth, looks really nice because it actually looks like you're there. That's what's nice about a green screen. It's neat.
So I legit like I got the green screen off of Wish.com, and then I went to Target and I spent $12 on a rolling coat rack, and so I just have the green screen on the coat rack. I can roll it behind me and good to go.
Wow. You're a risky man buying from Wish.
Yeah. My friend bought a laptop there and it was perfectly fine. I don't know how, but
Whew.
yeah.
A laptop?
Now
Yeah, literally a laptop.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm not brave enough for that.
Either.
All right, so I'm just pulling up my notes, and here we go. People here in the chat, I'll pop that out. Awesome. So, hello, welcome, and thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of the High Ground Podcast. I am super excited. Um, Josh, our everyone's favorite pirate, is back.
Gosh.
But Aaron and Meg are both new. What do you guys want me to call you for the podcast?
Aaron's okay with me. Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. You could just call me Megan. That's
Okay.
cool.
All right,
Meg
cool.
Scarpinobi is a mouthful.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed. I had a lot of trouble trying to say it. It's like
That's cool.
Megski makes Skyrim OB.
Skyrim.
But yeah, and also, I know Aaron, you want to let me know that you weren't here to like try and take my audience or anything like that, and I wanted to say I want you to. I want everyone who is trying to make a positive impact on the Star Wars community to just keep this going, because like we're all vibing and it's just the best. And the more creators out there, the better, and hopefully we can drown out the negative voices.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I'm a pretty transparent person. I like to make my intentions clear, and of course, you both being big creators, there's always that worry of, are you just being friends with me just so that you can mooch some creators and then disappear? So, I I don't like those kinds of people. So I genuinely want to make friends with everyone, as well as other creators, and we can make some very, very positive, affecting impacts on the TikTok community.
Absolutely. And I'm a little bummed that you didn't come up on my For You page. One of your followers was like, you need to have this guy on. I was like, huh, who is this guy? Like, oh, he's awesome. Okay, yeah, we're definitely going to do that.
TikTok's For You page needs some serious tweaking when it comes to that kind of stuff.
It does.
Like we're operating in our own worlds and we have no idea that there's like an entire world of people who think like us. It's like insane.
It's crazy. I think a lot of TikTok needs tweaking because even the Q&A buttons, only certain people have them. And before there was like an upload for the high definition videos before, and then they just took it off. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's annoying.
Yeah, so I turn on my Q&A buttons, and I still don't quite understand how they work properly.
Mm-mm.
Like they make it impossible to see what else is happening in chat at the moment, and it just
Yeah, that happened to me the other night. I was like, now it won't go away, and I don't know what to do.
yeah. But we have a lot of awesome things that are coming down the pipeline in the Star Wars world. So that's what I wanted to jump into. But before we get started, I kind of want to go around in a circle. And the way I kind of do this is I change who I start with each time. But I always go in the same order. So you'll always kind of know if you're next because you're always going to be following the same person. Just a helpful heads up. But let's start by asking, who are you? Who are you? Where can we find your stuff? What's your history in Star Wars? And give me your top 3 Star Wars films. And I am going to Megan first.
Oh goodness, I knew it. Well, I'm Megan, aka Meg Sky Renobi. I have TikTok, Meg Sky Renobi. How did I start liking Star Wars? My dad is a huge fan. He's always been a fan. So I actually saw The Phantom Menace in theaters when I was 4 years old. And I barely remember it. I don't really remember it. But since then, I have just been in love. And my 3 favorites are Revenge of the Sith, of course, Anakin, Return of the Jedi. And then for my third, it's so hard I can't pick either Empire Strikes Back or The Last Jedi.
Okay. All right. Solid list. I love it. And how about you, Josh?
Hi everybody, I'm Josh, also known as Mesa Windu. I'm on TikTok as well. I also have a YouTube channel where I talk about stuff a little more in depth, Star Wars related stuff, mainly streaming and stuff. But I got into Star Wars pretty storybook like. I went to the local library. My mom was like, "Oh, they rent movies too," and me being a movie guy, like I was like 7 years old. I was like, "Oh, let me look at the coolest looking one," and they were all like from the 80s, so like none of them were really cool to me, but I was like, "Oh, let me try the Star Wars one." And so after that I watched A New Hope for the first time. Then I got hooked and immediately had to watch the rest of them, and the rest is absolutely history. And my top 3 movies, they change all the time, but probably right now it'll be Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strikes Back, and then third, it's very, very close. It's between Return of the Jedi and A New Hope, but I'm probably going to go with Return of the Jedi. I think it's just the perfect ending to Star Wars, personally.
Okay. Perfect. And yeah, I had I think the first episode I had Josh on was for my A New Hope episode.
Oh,
That was such a good
that was a while ago. Dang.
Oh no, you came on for Clone Wars actually. That was your first one.
Oh yeah, it was for Clone Wars. I was on for New Hope too, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, with Joe Stoops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last but certainly not least, we got Aaron here in the house. And how about you?
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron. I'm on TikTok as well. And I do have a YouTube channel that I also have a podcast that we just chat about whatever. But I was introduced to Star Wars when I was probably, I was probably around 8, somewhere around there, 7, 8 years old. And I was introduced to the VHS version. It was a gold box. And I loved Darth Vader when I first seen him. Of course, I had no idea who he was. And then I fell right out of love with it because that was the only influence I had. And then a couple years later, maybe year and a half or so, I was introduced to Revenge of the Sith on PlayStation 2. And my best friend Ryan at the time was like, "Hey, this is General Grievous." I was like, "Okay. So what? Like, who's that? Who's Obi-Wan Kenobi?" Like, I knew nothing, but it just took that game to really just get me hooked. And of course, growing up, it was my outlet for things. So I just had a really heavy passion for Star Wars. And then for the movie list, I would say one I can always go back to and watch at least a couple times within a year would be Rise of Skywalker. The second one would be The Empire Strikes Back. And then the third would be Revenge of the Sith. And like Josh was saying, like it changes, but for the most part, it's those 3 that are pretty consistent.
Nice. There's a very real possibility I may ask you to come back for Rise of Skywalker, but and then you guys all know my story of watching Empire Strikes Back over and over again. Of course, I did grow up with the special editions. I still maintain they did way more right than they did wrong. Although the prequels are my favorite era, it's funny. My top 3 contains no movies from the prequels. With my last watch through of The Last Jedi, it actually finally overtook Empire Strikes Back to become my number 1. Number 2, Empire Strikes Back. Number 3, Return of the Jedi. And it does change quite a bit. That's one of the reasons I do this podcast, because I can talk to people that love these things, especially the ones that I don't like. And then you watch it with new and fresh eyes, and it changes everything about it. It's been really cool. That's also why I haven't made another ranking list, because I need to finish all of them before I go back and do that. But now I gotta ask, what about Star Wars makes it Star Wars? Because we're gonna be talking about future projects, and to kind of get a feel of what you guys are gonna love going forward. What about Star Wars kind of makes it Star Wars, and what type of things do we need going forward? Start with Josh.
Well, can you ask the question one more time?
What is it that makes Star Wars great? You know what I mean? What is the special sauce that whatever project they come out with definitely has to have?
A big thing, in my opinion, and why Star Wars is so special to so many people is because it manages to encapsulate everything that anybody can like, or at least the vast majority of us can like. And let me try and clarify. I think that there's something there for everybody to an extent. It's a galaxy far, far away. You can do virtually any subgenre you want inside the genre of Star Wars. If you're into heist movies, you can watch Solo. If you're into the epic war movies, you can watch Rogue One. It does something for you. If you're into the tragedy, you can watch Revenge of the Sith. And so I always felt that that's always been one of the greatest appeals. I'd argue even more so than something like Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, that you can jump right into it and be like, oh, I get what's happening here, or something like. And not to diss either of those, because those are absolutely legendary franchises as well. I'm not taking anything away from those, but I always felt like it was Star Wars is very compatible with probably, I'd argue, most of moviegoers. So I think that's what makes it special.
Nice. No, I love it, and I love how I have my friend Isaac in the chat, and he said, modern myth is exactly what it is, and I kind of feel like, if you grew up in ancient Greece, telling your kids those myths, and we still hear them today, I feel like 100 years in the future they'll still be talking about Star Wars as this amazing franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But how about you, Aaron?
What makes Star Wars feel like Star Wars is, I think, the best thing that I love about it would be the diversity. There's a character for almost anyone, and especially now that they're reaching, how can I say it? I'm really bad with my words. I'm sorry.
Fine. Me too.
I'm trying to put all this together.
You guys are doing wonderfully.
Yes. Thanks. Essentially, there's a character, there's a vehicle, there's a creature, there's a light side, dark side, gray, whatever. There's always something out there for someone. And now that this universe is expanding, there's even more. I made a video, I think today or yesterday, where even with Marvel, now that we're getting all these new things, we're getting new fans, new exposure to new people, and new perspectives on things. And I think that's what I love about it, and that's what I keep coming back to.
Yeah, it's because it's a great way to kind of inform everyone and reach everyone. But yeah, how about you, Megan?
I was gonna say that what makes Star Wars is the stars in the wars. But I think that I agree, it's timeless. I think that there's something for everybody there. There's a character for everybody. And yeah, I pretty much just agree. I was pretty much going to say everything that they said, but yeah.
And that's why I start with a different person each time, because
it makes sense.
Each other's answers.
Yeah.
No,
Just like high school.
yeah.
Good times.
No.
Since the universe is like an entire universe, I love how fiction has its way of informing people about the real world, especially if you're young and growing up, and it does so without at least this does it without extreme bias. Like obviously there's motifs that tie the empire to like World War II Germany, but it's also very heavily tied to the United States. You know what I mean? Like the morality of destroying Alderaan is very similar to dropping the to dropping atomic bombs. You know, and
Mhm.
so it's just a great way of informing people. And since it is such a big universe, you can find different things in any corner. So yeah, I definitely agree. Um, so I can't wait to get more of this going forward because, like you said, it's for everyone. So we can now get projects for everyone to highlight different parts of this universe. But first up, we're gonna talk Mandalorian season 3, since we already know we're getting that. I'm curious on how you guys are feeling about the Mandalorian, and what do you think we're gonna see in season 3? I need some hardcore predictions so that after season 3 I can come back and say you guys are wrong, or
Challenge accepted. Yeah.
no, just what do you think is going to happen? What are your thoughts and predictions for Man of season 3, Aaron?
Oh, I had like 6 parts on TikTok doing this. um, I feel I think I'm going to be entirely wrong about this one, but I think Mando is going to visit Grogu because their connection is just it's there. Like you've seen the heartbreak in his eyes when he had to let him go with Luke, but he knew it was the right thing. I think we're going to see him visit him, check up on him, and I obviously, if they kill off Grogu with Kylo, turning to the dark side and all, I mean, Disney's just really shooting themselves in the foot. They best not put their hand on my child, But anyways, I think that we're going to see Mando go to Mandalore. We're going to see a live action Mandalore. We're going to see Bo-Katan, at least by my perception, possibly turning into the bad guy just because she wants that power to turn Mandalore into her own. Rule and whatnot, but I could be wrong. And then I would say the third thing is that I really want to know more about Grogu's race because we've gotten Yoda and we've gotten Yaddle, and all three, including Grogu, are extremely powerful. So imagine, this is far fetched, but imagine going to a planet and there's like just millions of them, and they could just all just yeet all of us just everywhere. So
I think that's the name of the planet.
Yeah.
Planet Yeet.
Yeah. Why do they call it that? Oh, our ship just boom. It's like, okay, all right. Yeah.
But yeah, that would basically be, I guess, in a nutshell, everything that I can predict. What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, well, your thoughts, Meg? Well, real quick, I just wanted to say yes. I'm curious what they're going to do with Grogu as well, because we all love Grogu. And wouldn't it be poetic, I mean, to show what could possibly make Luke feel the way he did is losing Grogu? Like, he looked Mando in the eye and said, I will protect him with my life. Imagine you lose that kid. Yeah, that can break. That can break you.
Did we lose Megan?
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
yeah. I saw. That's why I started talking, because she kind of froze. I was like,
Oh,
all
no.
right, well, I'll keep talking. That's okay. I'm sure she'll be back in just a moment.
I also
What?
wanted to touch on that real quick. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Oh yeah.
Um,
What happened?
a lot of people, they don't like Luke, how he is now. They feel like they just ruined his character arc and things like that. And, if you go through enough things in life, you could turn any positive, headstrong person into someone who was broken as he was, wanting to just get away from it all. And that's at least, my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but like you said, losing Grogu could have made him go over that point of no return where he's like, I'm just over this all. I'm done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and not just like he had dozens of kids that he was responsible for. But yes, we're not gonna dive too deep into that. But Megan, what are your thoughts on Mando season 3?
Oh goodness. I hope that we do see live action Mandalore. I really want to see Bo and Din fight. Like I want to see her fight for that black saber. Like I want to see that. I hope we see Grogu. I hope that I don't know. I want to learn more about Din's background too though, because we didn't see too much of it, really. We only saw parts of it, so that would be cool. More of him with his helmet off. I mean, whew.
Yeah, and I know the actor definitely wants some more of that as well. He's tired of being a voice actor.
Yeah.
How about you, Josh? Huh, now Josh is frozen.
Oh no.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, it's like it's something that's just going around, apparently.
I thought it was me, and I was like, my computer started shutting down, and I was like, no, what is going on?
Yeah, so for you, yours just kind of froze, but I don't know.
Weird.
But it's all good. We will always we can always just come back to them.
So worst case scenario, if that happens to me, do I just like exit this and then I'll join back from your link that you sent me?
Yeah, just exit and join back.
Mine just automatically
Okay.
popped up for me. Mine, like, I was just sitting here with my hands like this, and it just automatically came back up, but I got lucky, maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, for me, I gotta say, definitely, we're definitely gonna see Bo and Din fight for the Darksaber, and even though Din doesn't want it, he's still gonna give it everything he's got because he has that honor.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get to see more of that. I think that we're gonna bring back Moff Gideon because he didn't die, and there's something going on Mandalore right now. I feel like they've all left the planet, at least the Mandalorians, so they're gonna go around to the different Mandalorian groups, try to collect them, and then try to use that to take back Mandalore. But take it back from who? What's happening there right now? That's what I want to know, and I think we'll get Moff Gideon for that. I know. What do
I
you
think that's a great idea. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Thrawn, or is that going to be in Ahsoka, you think? Are we going to talk about that later?
I think Thrawn is going to be in the Ahsoka show.
Okay.
I mean, that would make the most sense.
More sense? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'm a huge Thrawn fan myself, and it just wouldn't make sense. Like, Thrawn doesn't actually care about the Empire. He's got his own stuff going on. He was just rising up in the ranks, but he really just wants to protect the Chiss ascendancy. So we'll see. I think it would be weird if he continued to serve the Empire after that point, but we'll see. And I'll come back to Mace. He just gave me a message. He's still trying to get back in, but I think he's having computer issues himself.
I know.
But moving forward, I sent you guys a list of a bunch of rumored projects or confirmed projects that we just didn't see any information about in the investors meeting. So I'm curious what, if any of them, jump out at you. Oh, actually, Josh is back.
Hey guys, sorry about that. My entire house's power just went off for no reason.
No.
No.
Yeah, I was in the middle. It just went. Choom. I was like, okay, all right, somebody's
Oh,
breaking in.
Oh no.
All right, sorry about that. Hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Okay, that's good.
Thanks.
Well, actually, before we move on, I'd like to hear your thoughts on Mandalorian season 3.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, I was actually looking forward to it too before it cut through me from the thing. So yeah, season 2 was an absolute masterpiece. I had a lot of fun watching it. It was one of the best experiences ever. It's one of the only shows that I might add that I'm okay with waiting a week for every new episode. For whatever reason, I just get annoyed every time everybody else does it. It's okay when it's The Mandalorian though. But season 3, I'm hoping it's going to be huge. I can go even further than a season 3 prediction. I'll be even bolder. I want / suspect that it's going to end with Din Djarin eventually becoming the next Mandalore. I think Bo-Katan is going to want it. And while I don't think that she's going to be a villain going forward, because I just don't think that I just don't think they have a plan for her to become a true villain at that point. I do think that she's going to be kind of an adversary in future seasons, whether that's season 3 or season 4 or even the final or whatever ends up being their final season. I don't know if they're doing 5 seasons or whatever. But that's what I'm hoping. I think we'll get a bookend Grogu appearance. I think we'll get like time skip Grogu where it's like the end of the series and Din goes to visit like older Luke Skywalker and you see like Grogu and you're like, oh God, he's like 18 now. It's like, okay, cool. It's going to be one
He's
of
got
those.
an emo haircut.
You're right. He's like, you're not my real dad. It's like, you don't understand me, Din.
Phased.
Yeah. And so I think it's going to be absolutely incredible. I think it's going to be a fun ride. I don't dare predict anything else. I just think it's going to end with Din at least having an opportunity to become the next Mandalore. And it's so, I mean, we know nothing about Mandalore post Return of the Jedi, so it could happen like that. I mean, it would be a great arc for him to go from he's a foundling to he's kind of like I'm Grogu's guardian protector too, and now I'm the king of all Mandalorians. It's like, okay, cool, all right, hell of a journey.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening too. Although you know Grogu leaving was like such a sad goodbye. There was nothing saying you can't see him. Like, you know,
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I can't wait to find out. Okay, and so moving forward on my list, I put a bunch of the projects that were A, rumored, or B, confirmed but weren't talked about in the investors meeting. So I'm curious on your guys' thoughts on which one of these really stand out to me. So first up, you know, we have the Rian Johnson trilogy. There is an untitled Kevin Feige movie. There's a J.D. Dillard movie, which I haven't seen anything that director has done. He did a few things for like HBO and like a couple Netflix movies. There's a rumored Cara Dune spinoff that's separate from Rangers. As well as Star Wars Detours, which the Detours was also a comic line, but it's kind of like a comedy, kind of fun type story about random everyday life in different points in Star Wars. So yeah, which one of these jumps out to you guys? And I am going to Megan first.
I knew it. I don't really care to see another trilogy. I don't know. I do and I don't. It depends on who does it. It has to be done right. But the comedic everyday, the Detours, I think that would be really cool. I think that seeing like what you said, everyday Star Wars life, like in a comedic way would be interesting. Because Star Wars is funny, but it's not like, I don't know, ha 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 funny. Sometimes it is, but
Like when Alderaan got destroyed, that was more
yeah,
like,
that was
funny. It was like there's somebody unironically laughing at that part. He's like, ha, 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 ha. Oh wait, sorry.
You know, Tarkin on the Death Star was like, meh.
Yeah, he went back to his room and he was just like,
No, I had Lebo-Wan Kenobi. He's an Obi-Wan cosplayer. I had him on the podcast.
yeah, he's cool.
And he said that he wanted a show that is about the last day of Alderaan, but from different people's perspectives. Of like, you could have just a random person, you know, like, you can have a case where, you know, it could even be something like there's a heist. Someone's planning a heist and they do all this stuff and then they get away with it. And then they look up and they go, what's that? And then the episode ends. Like every episode ends exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, that would actually be really cool. And it could make for really good, funny episodes, but it could also make for really sad episodes too, or really melancholy episodes. There could be somebody who's like reconciling with a estranged parent or something, and right when it looks, I mean, seriously, like, I mean, and realistically, in a world with 10 billion people, is that situation not happening? I mean, anything, it's terrible, and it really lends gravity to how massive doing something like that would be. It's like, oh, an entire planet gets destroyed. It's like, yeesh.
Yeah. And then also, I have Julia Christine in the chat, still pitching Antique Roadshow Tatooine.
Oh, that would be dope. Oh my gosh.
But how about you, Aaron? Any of those jump out at you?
To be honest, the first thing that jumped out at me was the Cara Dune. If she had her own show, that would be cool. I've over my page, I've talked about this a lot. I feel that females, they don't really get a lot of role models as us guys do. You got Din Djarin just kicking doors open and but you got Ahsoka, you got, Leia, but like Cara Dune, when I first saw her, I was like, oh, like that is not like that, but like, like she's a
like
badass.
Well, kinda. I mean, me too. It's okay.
Yeah, she is pretty, but she's rough. She's like, she'll just mess anyone up, and I feel like girls, they don't have a lot of female characters that are like that. So a show like that would be really good. But everyone's got their own opinion. You never know.
Oh yeah.
But that's the first one that jumped out at me.
Nice, awesome. I love it. How about you, Josh?
Well, is the Ryan Johnson one still happening at this point? And that's an honest question. I asked that question on Reddit, and somebody was like ready for me with the like don't listen to everything that you hear. It's like, I'm just asking. We've heard literally nothing about it, and I think that's a fair question to ask. So
the most recent thing we heard is Ryan Johnson himself confirmed that he was still working on it.
Okay.
Now he confirmed this was prior to that shareholder meeting, and again, there are other projects and things that are further along. So again, it could always end up canceled, but last we heard, it's still happening.
Okay. Well, I mean, and this is complete 180 than how I felt 3 years ago, but I'm actually really looking forward to it if he ends up being able to do it. The Last Jedi, in my opinion on The Last Jedi, has evolved considerably since I've seen it. Walking out the first time, I didn't like it, but after 3 years of watching it every now and then, I've started to understand what Ryan was trying to do and was able to do in a lot of ways. And so now I'm kind of like, dang, I went from saying, I hope this dude doesn't get to write 3 more movies to, I actually think he'd do a good job if he got to write his own story from start to finish, 3 movies each. So it'll be unfortunate if that isn't happening anymore, and I hope it does. So, but I do like the idea of Star Wars detours as well. I think that's a really, really high potential for being a really special gem, an unexpectedly special gem. The Kevin Feige movie, I'm excited for it. I don't really know a lot about we obviously know how he can handle like a big franchise, obviously, because he's handled the MCU the last 12, 13 years. But I don't know how he would do with Star Wars. I think he would do at least a decent job. But yeah, those are probably the ones I'm cautiously optimistic for.
Yeah, personally, and I'm almost like saddened to hear it, because like one of the reasons I loved you was you hated The Last Jedi so respectfully that I was like, I don't agree with him, but he's like, I like this guy. No.
Be proud of me. I grew, man. I was just like, hey, man, like I get it. I don't necessarily agree with everything in the movie. it's impossible for anybody to agree with everything about a movie unless it's The Godfather. But yeah, The Godfather's a perfect movie. I will not hear any other. But no, The Last Jedi has its problems, but I appreciate it more than I appreciate quite a few of the Star Wars movies out there. So.
No. And for me, I'm on the same boat. I want to see a trilogy. It doesn't have to be a trilogy, but that's what they announced it as. Ryan Johnson as a director does an incredible job. I think everyone's acting performances in the film were top notch, and every scene was framed to where you could take a screenshot and put it up on your wall. I think a lot of the issues that some people have with the film have to do with how they felt certain characters should have done this or that. Um, but give him his own thing where he can create the characters or in his own world. I think that could have the potential to be like one of the best projects ever, and I hope it's like a Thrawn trilogy or something
I'd
like
watch
that.
it.
I think that would be dope. But also with Taika Waititi, I need Taika Waititi to do a Hondo Onaka film.
Perfect.
I think he's the guy for that. He has a sensibility. I think he could play Hondo himself if he wanted to.
If you really wanted to, yeah.
I think that'd be awesome. Um, yeah, as long as we can kind of step away from the Skywalker saga and kind of step
Yeah.
into our own. Also, there's rumors for High Republic. Now, personally, I am caught up on the High Republic. Oddly, yeah, don't judge me. I know Into the Dark came out yesterday, but yeah, it has been accomplished. It's been such an awesome era that I think we need more content to come out of there. It's been incredible. That being said, let's get to that investors meeting because we have a bunch of things to talk about in there, and so I really tried to isolate our top five so that, and sorry you didn't get a choice in it, Josh, but
Fine.
so we can each talk about all three of us talk about all of those. Let me just see here. Actually, no, we have plenty of time. We're sailing through this. So yeah, let's spend some time with the first section to talk about which ones of the items that were confirmed there. And I apologize. I mentioned the Taika Waititi movie that was confirmed there, so I apologize. I jumped sections, but
Sure.
as far as what's been confirmed, what are you guys liking? And if I can give me some predictions on these titles, and we'll go to Aaron first.
Okay. The ones that I'm most excited for. So you said pick two. For sure, I would have to say Ahsoka, number one, and number two would have to be. It's so difficult between Kenobi and the Bad Batch. I'm really excited for both, but if I had to pick two, I love the clones. I would say the Bad Batch. I'm very excited, and to be honest, I had a very closed-minded opinion on the investor meeting because I thought investors were just a bunch of old guys that were like, no, they don't need Star Wars, nothing fun. But
Our quarterly reports say, yeah.
yeah, how much money are we gonna make off of this? I wasn't looking at it right, but they came out with the list, and even though I don't really know what like Visions or Alkalite is, I don't know anything to even speak on it. I'm excited for it all, to be honest with you, because I'm gonna learn so much more, and I don't know everything, of course, but I love learning more, at least bits and pieces of everything.
All right. Well, I mean, do you have any? I don't know if you have the list in front of you, but do you have any predictions on anything like Obi-Wan predictions or anything like that?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that part. Any predictions? For sure. I mean, based off of what they told us, we're gonna see him and Vader, apparently, another battle, which I think that's going to pull our heartstrings like Revenge of the Sith does. I can't go through that whole movie without at least feeling some kind of ounce of depression, just like, oh, this is just heartbreaking. But for predictions on anything else, to be honest, I don't. Not at the moment, no.
Okay. No, that's totally fair. Yeah, because there's quite a few items where we didn't get a lot of background on. One of the things that I look at though is the Visions project. I don't know if anyone is an anime fan, but they're getting some of the best people in the anime scene, like as far as creators and directors, and it's like an anthology series that's going to cover the 25,000 years of Star Wars history. 25,000. That means prior to the Old Republic. That's 3,000 years. That means Dawn of the Jedi type stuff. The Jedi, the Dai Bendu, and all that. I know. So we'll have to spend some time and see what pops up with there. But how about you, Josh? Is anything?
Well, Obi-Wan Kenobi, simply because it's been a meme at this point, how long and how badly everybody has wanted that to happen. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't absolutely ecstatic. And I think when we see the first trailer with Ewan McGregor, like I'm gonna get numb, because it's like I legit haven't seen him since 2005 as Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's like that would be a very beautiful thing to see. So yeah, that the second one, probably the Bad Batch, just because it's coming out relatively sooner than all of the other announcements, right? Is that true? It's coming out later this year, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to come out this spring.
Okay. Oh, this spring?
That's the last time I heard. But
oh
yeah,
wow!
I believe it should be the next.
Probably the next couple months.
It should be the next Star Wars project that we have coming out.
Yeah, and after seeing the sizzle reel, it's funny because I wasn't that into the Bad Batch. I was like, why are we making a show out of these? Like, is this A-Team? Like, is this Star Wars A-Team? Like, if I wanted to watch A-Team, I would have watched A-Team. Okay, but I wasn't too excited about it, mainly because their arc in Star Wars Season 7, it was cool, but like it just felt a little. I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. The special effects were, I mean, the CGI was amazing, but I just wasn't, the animation was great, but I just couldn't get into it. I saw the sizzle reel and I was like, okay, well, the era that they're doing this suddenly makes me really intrigued. Like we're seeing the opening days really of the Galactic Empire, which I know people say like, oh, we've touched on that too much. We've touched on that too much. We've touched on that too much. To be perfectly honest with you, the only part of the Imperial era that we haven't touched in great detail is the very beginning of it. We've seen it at the tail end of the Revenge of the Sith, and really that was kind of overshadowed by the battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda and Emperor Palpatine. And we saw bits and pieces of it in like Vader comics and all of that stuff. And those were absolutely like fantastic pieces of media. But like I want to see it like on screen. I want to see like clones are starting to get their Legion markings wiped away and they're all white clone troopers now. And it's like starting to look like stormtroopers. And I want to see like where major Clone Wars characters are doing after we see them in Clone Wars, and it's like kind of the beginning of a darker era of the galaxy. I noticed we saw a Zygerian there. Like, I'd love to see like how not average, but like everyday people are talking about this and how it's changing. Seeing how Republic like juggernauts like the Venator Star Destroyers are getting kind of scrapped now and getting replaced by a new type of, battle cruiser essentially. And it's like, we know what it is, but it's like seeing them experiencing it. It's like I'm really looking forward to it. And ironically, I mean, not ironically, but funny enough, the most I'm excited for is a Tarkin again. I'm glad we get to see Tarkin again. I saw him at the end of the sizzle reel, and I was like, I'm excited for that. I was like, I forgot, like he's not quite a Grand Moff by this point. He's a few years in before he becomes a Moff or a Grand Moff. He's still like an admiral, then he'll become a governor, and then he'll become the Grand Moff. So I'm hoping we get to see a little bit of that. But yeah, between all of it, Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Bad Batch, probably.
Yeah, especially I always hated Tarkin growing up until I read the book Tarkin, and I was like, that guy's a badass. Like, yeah. Oh, and
he's
that
like a surgeon knife. It's like
he ended up becoming. That ended up becoming my favorite Star Wars book, and it stayed number one until Into the Dark. It came out yesterday.
Really? Wow.
But
I need to read it then.
But yeah, I mean, Meg, let's Megan, let's talk about some predictions. What are you seeing here?
I'm really excited for Kenobi, obviously. I want to see Clone War armor, Kenobi and Anakin, or Clone Wars outfits. I want to see, I don't know, I kind of want to see, I don't know if it's even possible, but like Darth Vader without his helmet on. I don't care if Anakin's burned or not. I mean,
Does he
Hayden.
have eyebrows or no eyebrows?
I don't even care.
I know that's Hayden. It's enough for me.
It's Hayden. Yeah. And I swear, if I hear any slander from anybody about Hayden, I will come for you. I will come. Like the whole Star Wars community. But, gosh, I know that we heard there's going to be another epic, battle between the two of them. Yeah, I just want to see Kenobi kind of in his daily life. Like, what did he do between, obviously, Order 66 and finding Luke or Luke finding him and that situation. And then a droid story. I'm excited for that. Isn't that's following R2D2 and C3PO, but it's like somebody else, or is it it's a different droid, but it's right?
From my understanding, I believe that's what they said, is that yes, R2 and C3PO are in it, but it'll be following another droid, and it instantly made me think of the D Squad arc on the Clone Wars. But yeah, well, I mean, what do you want to see in it?
In the droid story?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just more banter between R2 and C3PO. It's my favorite. I love it.
Like an old married couple.
Yeah,
They are.
pretty much.
They are, yeah.
I mean, all right. So let's dig in a little bit on on the Obi-Wan story, because for me, there's a couple things. Like there's a short passage at the end of the Ahsoka book that talks about Obi-Wan visiting Shmi's grave and just
I can't.
yeah, talking about like, I failed your son, and like I was supposed to protect him and all this stuff. Like it's sad. So like
That's just depressing.
it's an amazing scene. I mean,
Yeah.
but I do need to see that in live action.
That show has a lot of potential for some really deep moments for him. That's gonna. I mean, Ewan McGregor could mess around and win something if he does it right, man.
I believe it.
Did you hear about Liam Neeson? Rumors
I
of him
heard,
coming back?
yeah, and it would make sense from a chronological standpoint. Helping teach him how to, eventually become a Force ghost, something that Qui-Gon was never able to finish learning. Because of course, like now that I think about it, of course Qui-Gon was trying to learn how to become a Force ghost. Of course he was. He's so enlightened compared to everybody else. Of course he was trying to.
Absolutely. I mean, how about you, Aaron? Do you ever have any thoughts on the rumors of Liam Neeson coming back as Qui-Gon, and also the voice actor for Satine, Kryze, is supposed to be in it
On the IMDb for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So
That
is
would make me
it's
very
like
happy.
Yeah. Do you think Dave Filoni did this kind of stuff on purpose? Like he casted these guys, designed them to kind of sort of resemble the people that are voicing them, just in case, like down the road, he was like, you know what? Let's bring back Katie Sackhoff for, I don't know, The Mandalorian, that like 12 years before we even start making it. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, he definitely told that to Katie Sackhoff at the beginning of like, who knows, maybe you can end up being this character, and it happened. So yeah, that definitely wouldn't surprise me. So like for Kenobi, another thing that I need to see at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan is pretty certain Anakin is dead. Yeah, he didn't finish the job, but he left the guy with one arm, no legs, on fire.
That'll usually do it 99.9% of the time.
So there has to be a scene where Obi-Wan realizes who that is in the suit.
Oh.
It was in a comic, I swear. I seen it
I
on
seen
YouTube somewhere. I done seen it
I seen it.
There's so
with my own eyeballs.
like I'm just imagining sometimes. Like, did I see that? Yeah, I did. No, I definitely.
Because if Ahsoka can eventually find out who it is, there's no way that Obi-Wan, like just by looking at him, will be like, oh God. Like you know that like the moment he sees like a giant suited, even if he's not using the Force common sense, he's like, there's no way that's not Anakin. Like, oh God. My bad, buddy.
Oops.
Right.
And
I can tell by the way you're aggressively trying to kill me right now that you're probably Anakin Skywalker.
Because you see him when he's facing off with Vader, he's just not surprised. He's like, oh yeah, I've seen you before. Okay, nice suit. Okay, let's do this. But I swear it was a comic, and I think he went into a cantina, and it was on one of those holographic TVs or whatever, and
Yeah.
Vader's on a stage or something, and then he either fell through the Force or something, but he realized it was Anakin. I think he talked to someone next to him, and it was a rumor, and he's like, oh, that's Vader. Okay, and then piece something together, and he's like, oh my God, like look at him now.
Yeah. So you're definitely not wrong. So that did happen in the Obi-Wan book by John Jackson.
I
John
thought I
Jackson
heard it
Miller.
before.
That is how he found it in the book. But yeah, I definitely need to find out how that works. And also Obi-Wan has been saving people, all of his life. And in that book, like, I hope we get some elements, because it was a really, really good book. It's Obi-Wan is having to come to terms with not being able to save people, and he's seeing bad things happen to these people in, where were they? Mos Espa, Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley.
I mean, he was nearby, wasn't in that city, right? So
Right.
he's trying to like save different people in this town, but it becomes obvious of like, well, if you keep doing that, people are going to figure out who you are or what you're here for. And if that ever happens, you can't protect Luke. And so he has to like come to terms with not being a Jedi anymore. I think that's going to be really fascinating as well. I also saw nobody mentioned Andor. No love for our boy Cassian.
I'm excited for the show, particularly because of the era it's set during. Just compare. I mean, there's so many heavy hitters on that list. Like, I'm really excited for pretty much all of them. Andor, I always liked it because, as somebody said it best, they said it feels like Andor is going to be a type of Cold War espionage type of like it's
Winter
not
Soldier,
quite
Star Wars,
right.
edition.
It's not quite all out war. It's not quite ever going to be that because it's before the actual rebellion, but it's going to be a lot of like spying and sympathetic Imperials and undercover covert agents. I mean, like the one scene that always sticks with me in Rogue One, and the moment I realized like, oh God, this is different from the other Star Wars movies, was when Cassian Andor and that the rebel spy who was with him at the beginning of the movie, he broke his arm, I think, and he had like a lot of info that he got from the Empire about like word on the Death Star, if I'm remembering that correctly. And Cassian's trying to get him to help him escape, and he can't like climb up. So he's about to get found out by all these stormtroopers. So Cassian kills him. And it's like, I like that kind of stuff where it's like, you have to make really fast and really hard decisions like that. Like, I want to see what leads him eventually on that path. I think Andor is going to be a surprisingly dark show, all things
I
considered.
agree.
And I'm excited for that. I like that kind of stuff.
I think that's why I'm not excited.
Oh, that's okay.
like just happiness, man. I just so much heart.
I need some
All right.
grit somewhere.
But that's the most beautiful part is there. I need there to be too much Star Wars for any reasonable person to watch all of it, because I think that's the point we need to hit, because
Get rid of the toxic fans.
well,
Oh, that too.
Get out of here.
that's the problem is I feel like those people feel like they have ownership of it, and there's a lot of people who's like, oh, I like this for this reason. You're like, but that's not why. Give them something that's what they want and why they want it, and then give things for other people. If you don't want to watch Forces of Destiny, don't watch it. You're not the target demographic. That's okay.
Yep. It's almost like you're not a 4-year-old. Yeah, go figure.
Mhm.
Right.
I think the biggest. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. And by the way,
Uh,
if we ever start talking at the same time, I'm here for you guys. So you guys don't ever stop talking. I will stop.
oh, gotcha. Okay, sorry. I found that especially with TikTok and everything, it's hard for people to just accept things. Like even if they don't like it, don't look at it. Like it's not hard. Just close the blinds and boom, it's gone. Out of sight, out of mind. But it, if it's not meant for you, okay, so be it, you know. But just let other people enjoy it because there's also what a lot of us adults have forgotten about. You know, obviously none of us are toxic, but as an example from that perspective, if I'm crapping on the original, you know, trilogy, I'm also ruining it for little Timmy and little Sally who grew up loving it and now their perspective has changed. So it's just food for thought, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One thing I do want to see in, yeah, I agree completely because, I mean, all of us have stories about how young we were when we first got into this, and we still love it to this day. And you know, it's a it's kind of a dick move to try and take that from any kid right now. You know.
Mhm.
And not to self plug, but I made a TikTok a couple days ago, right before I went to bed. Because whenever I can't sleep, I just make a TikTok or do some stupid skit or something. And I was using the audio from a Game of Thrones scene where a character was like, "You're probably the most vile person I've ever met." But then again, I've known a lot of vile people in my life, and the person was talking to somebody who, and I use the caption, people who won't let other people enjoy the sequel trilogy. And then when she says, but I have known other vile people in my life, she's talking about in the past where people wouldn't let people enjoy the prequel trilogy. It's like the same thing, different day type of skit that I was going for. And like, it's one of the things that, I mean, I always point out, like, how often do you see like the same, like, almost the same criticisms, the same like, oh, you're not allowed to, but it's like a different series of movies. It's like I feel like I've heard this before. It's just not directed at me anymore. I dealt with that stuff. I was a big prequel fan. Like the prequel era was like huge to me, and this was like a time before the Clone Wars really got itself together in terms of quality and stuff like that. And so, and I couldn't talk about the prequel trilogy without everybody being like, "Oh, aren't those movies trash?" And I'm like, I don't think so. And it's like, and so now these kids these days are big fans of the sequel trilogy, and they're scared to talk about it now because everybody's gonna be like, aren't those movies trash? Or didn't Disney ruin It's like, can't you let her enjoy the damn movie? It's like, come on, man.
Oh,
I
feel
remember
your
because
pain.
at one point in
So
time,
annoying.
at one point in time, I legitimately thought that I was the only person on the planet that enjoyed the prequels. Like, and but I remember the argument of, oh well, the prequels ruined Anakin's sacrifice because we saw him like kill a bunch of children and stuff, and that means that he should be not be redeemable at all. And it's just funny how it
Yeah.
how it comes around full circle. But no, in talking about Andor, I think that'll be interesting too because that's another perspective we've never gotten to see. Because Andor, Cassian, his family was separatists. We've never seen the other side of that war. We've only ever seen it from the Republic's perspective. And the Cassian Andor that we saw at the beginning was pretty rough, right? So he's kind of like the opposite of Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious, yeah, what we can really kind of zone in that story too.
I think they're both really, I think they're, oh gosh, what's a good description of those two, the dynamic between, I think that they're both devout, like rebels in the most basic sense of the word. But I think whereas Cassian is probably, I guess Cassian is probably more respectful of like, he believes in the actual cause of the Rebel Alliance itself, even though he's like really dark about it and really gritty about it and willing to do anything for that cause. I don't think he's quite on the level of, hey, let's go blow up this build. It's like Saw Gerrera, in a lot of eyes, I'm not gonna say whether he is or not, but in a lot of eyes, he's a terrorist. It's like there's a difference between, or is there a difference between, I guess it depends on who you ask, but yeah, I think they would definitely agree that the Empire is bad, but I think once it comes into how they operate and if they were both going on missions together, I think Cassian more than a few times would be like, dude, what the F are you doing? Like, there'd be a few of those.
Yeah, especially if you read the book Rebel Rising, which is it's a book about Jin growing up under the care of Saw Gerrera.
Oh, that's
And
interesting.
it's a really good book. But you can see, she's growing up. He's raising her almost as his daughter, but he does not shelter her from the darkness and stuff at all, and it's pretty crazy. And then as it goes forward, you find out that there are certain things that he is keeping from her, and so she like witnesses the bad parts of a couple missions, and it really changes a lot. It's really fascinating. And then myself, I'm really excited for the show The Acolyte. We don't know much about it. That's the one that was being done by Leslie Headland. She did the movie Russian Dolls on Netflix. And so we knew this was going to be like a female-led show, and she said it has some Indiana Jones style like exploration, and it's like going from place to place. All of us, we were like anticipating that this was going to be a Dr. Aphra show. Which
That was so cool.
I still want, and that's one of my dream projects. But we find out that it's The Acolyte, so it takes place at the tail end of the High Republic, and we know it's some type of dark side like Sith show. What exactly that means, I don't know.
Really excited for that one. As somebody who, we're getting really towards the end. So the end of the High Republic era is probably getting relatively close to, it's probably the closest we've gotten before we get to like the Phantom Menace, right? Because if it's the end of the High Republic era, there's probably like an 80-year gap between what we know as the prequel era and the High Republic era. And if that's where it kind of is set, and it's not quite set 300 years ago, it's more like 150 years ago, I really, really hope that we start getting some hints as to maybe somebody like Darth Plagueis or who by the way, canonically we know absolutely nothing about aside from a story and the very heavy illusion that Palpatine is the one that killed him. I hope that we get something like that, even if it's not him in it, because I don't know how like, I don't know what species he is, I don't know how he ages, but I hope we get something like that where it's like we start to see like the Sith start to prepare to return to the workings of the grand master plan. Like hopefully we'll see the groundwork that Palpatine maybe perhaps builds off of. I'm really excited for that. Go read Darth Plagueis if you guys haven't. It's the greatest Star Wars book of all. I had to throw it out there. It's so good.
It is really good, and it's written by James Luceno, and that's one of the reasons why I love the Tarkin book, because it's also written by James Luceno. And the Tarkin book does touch a little bit on Plagueis, little tiny little dips here and there.
I think he had his droid in it or something, and I was like,
He does have his droid.
I did the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he was like, "Hey, that's He's like 44D. I was like, "Oh, that's the guy from the book. That's the guy from the book." Nobody else knew it. They were like, "Who?" I was like, "That's the guys you don't understand."
But yeah. There's a lot of really cool stuff. But like you said, like when did the High Republic end? We know it starts, like 250 years before, and yeah, maybe whoever the Acolyte is, maybe she gets trained by Tenebris, and like maybe she's the one that trains Plague. I don't know. Just we have so many awesome places that we can go. All right, so we did. So we did kind of mention the Bad Batch, but I'm curious if we have any like major predictions for it, or anything you guys specifically want to see. No, I mean,
Hmm.
because to me, like Josh was saying earlier, this is the first time we really get to see the other side of Order 66. But kind of my thoughts on it that I want to see is, we know that like Quinlan Voss survived Order 66. What's he doing? Can we see him? I was like, who else? There's other people that survived Order 66.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you guys think the Bad Batch executed it, Order 66, or are they on the run from the people that did?
I I wouldn't hate it if they were chipped just like every other clone. I wouldn't hate
Yeah.
it. And it wouldn't surprise me at all. I'd be like, okay, well, it would be smart to make sure that your commandos have chips as well. Like that wouldn't be a good idea to not like, oh, they'll be fine. It's like, I don't know. You might want to be careful with that. But it would be really cool if it had no effect on them. Like there was no way to when they put the chip in them, there was no way to tell like, do we know if this is going to work? Because we've done a lot of experiments on these guys and they don't look anything like actual clones. Like they think pretty freely. Are we sure that they're going to blindly be like, okay, or are they just going to be like, oh, my head hurts and then go along with their day? I'm hoping that there's a situation where they get the order and maybe it's like it's like I'd love a situation like that where like everybody, all the clones around them are like, we gotta kill the Jedi. Like they're getting super hyper aggressive and like what's his name? Hunter's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like I have no idea. Why are you trying to? And like they just witness like a Jedi, maybe witnessing a Jedi, a no-name Jedi getting murked by like 50 clones aiming point blank. They're just like, whoa, like. And I'd love a situation where like they go back and they're watching Palpatine's speech or something, and they see all these other clones blindly listening to it, like, yeah, like that, and they're just like, this is bad. Like this is really bad, guys.
Seems kind of sus, guys.
Hey, Red's kind of sus. Hey, Red Man in robe is kind of sus, man. Like
Yellow's
but no,
over there venting.
right. I would love a situation like that where maybe like they have to like there's a situation that comes up where they're going on a high quality mission, high top secret mission where they have to end up either bringing in a Jedi or killing a Jedi, and they have to make that judgment call. And I have a feeling that they're going to end up being really likable characters, so I don't see them becoming antagonistic towards any Jedi. The show is going to be about them, so I seriously doubt that any kind of like badness starts coming out of them. I don't know, but I'm really excited for that kind of dynamic.
Yeah, and then we also got to see Fennec Shan
Yeah.
is going to be in it as well. But how about you, Aaron? Any thoughts? Are they gonna turn? Are they gonna remain good? Or who's the antagonist in the Bad Batch?
Man, Josh, I don't know if I'm just cheating off of you
I
with
talk
this
too
quiz,
much, man.
or
I'm sorry.
no, it's not that. Just you're hitting everything like right on the head, just perfect. My biggest thought, because I've gotten this question before, like, did the Bad Batch execute it? I'm like, I mean, they did so many experiments on them and experimentations. You never know, especially with Echo, with all the wires and
Right.
everything else going through their head. If they saw it, they're like, oh, you don't need this. Let's just plug a wire right there. Like, it's kind of just a coin toss. They could either abide by it, or what my gut feeling's telling me is they're going to be like, yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go kill a Jedi. And then they'll just run off and do their own thing. And it seemed by the, what do you call it? Not the commercial. I'm not watching TV. What is it
The
called?
sizzle reel, I think it's called.
Yeah. By that reel, it seemed like they were going against clones. But the big question is also, what clones in particular are we going to see? Are we going to see Cody? Are we going to see some other big names? Because whenever you research them, it's very open-ended. Like, sure, they executed it, but what's after that? They didn't just go out to Taco Bell. Like, come on, there's more that happened to it. So
Right.
I guess that's just my 2 cents. I'm just I have no idea, but I'm ready for it.
They're gonna
I
come
really
back
think-
to Coruscant and like there's a bunch of orange slices and like
here's your retirement pamphlet. Go off to Naboo for the rest of your short life. It's like, ooh. I personally, I really want to know what the hell went on with Wolf, somebody like Commander Wolf, because if any of you've seen Star Wars Rebels, like, and I think the director of that episode where the clones first show up, he said, I wrote Wolf like he was a guy that saw some shit. 66 went down. Like everybody kind of like, I mean, like he said, I like to think that he got his chip taken out after it went down. Like one of those situations where like he committed it, was totally fine with it, and then when it gets removed, he slowly starts realizing like, oh God, what did I? Oh my gosh, no. And so I'd love a situation where like Wolf, maybe like somebody said this on Reddit, and I was like, I really want this to happen. What if it's a situation where like, because Wolf was Plo Koon's commander, right? Wolf was
Yeah,
Wolfpack, yeah, Plo Koon's commander. Because Dave Filoni loved Plo Koon and all that, and wolves, and so
Filoni is correct. Plo Koon is the
yep.
best.
He's awesome. But the kid was like, I would love a situation where like he watches like Plo Koon get shot out of the sky or something like that, and like he just has this blank expression on his face, like, yep, that's what needed to happen. And it's like, oh my gosh, like that's insane. And then like he slowly realizes like, damn, like I was cool with this guy. That sucks. Like that would be crazy. I'd love something like that. Cody would be insane too, though.
Yeah. How about you, Megan? Anything else? Any other like? What's Fennec Shan doing? Is this when she first meets Boba Fett? Because Boba Fett's also putting around this time. He doesn't have a chip, but he looks exactly like a lot of people that do.
Right.
Hmm.
No, I mean, if we can see Fennec and Boba meet up, that's cool. But I have not finished the Clone Wars, guys.
Oh, let me be cool. I'm sorry. Oops.
No. I've been on Star Wars
Okay.
TikTok long enough that everything has been spoiled for me. I know everything there is to know. I've done enough research and I've seen enough episodes, I will say. Like, you know, I watched enough to get caught up a little bit. That I pretty much know everything that happens. But I just haven't watched it all the way through because I just can't. I can, but I can't. But I'm excited because I've heard all the theories and everything like that. And I think that it would be it would be fine if they did have a chip in them and they did, you know, they were like, oh yeah, we'll go along with this, whatever. But it also would be cool to see them, like Darth Drago said, you know, running away from Order 66 and not like acting like, oh yeah, we'll go along with this, and then like totally just being like, oh, never mind. Like we'll act like this is what's going on, but in real life, no, this is not what we want. So I don't know. We'll see. I am excited though, because like I guess it's coming soon.
Yeah.
So.
Apparently, I completely
Apparently.
when you told me spring, I was like 2022. I was like, oh, now pretty much like in 2 months. I mean, I'm down like right when the weather starts getting nicer, like, and hopefully maybe even COVID starts dying down. Like I'd like get to look forward to a new Star Wars show. Like that would be insane. That'd be awesome.
It just means I have to watch Clone Wars faster.
Yeah, you really got to watch it if you want
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm offended.
The first thought that came to my mind was traitor. She's the Jedi.
Traitor. Good sword to follow
No, I
order.
like it. I have kids. I have little kids, so I watch cartoons all day. And then it's like, do I want to go watch a cartoon? No.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I understand
Well,
that.
That's always my excuse. It's not a real good one, but it works.
No, that's okay. That's we stand all Star Wars fans here. This is how we do it.
Yes, we do.
Oh yeah.
What I want to see is the Bad Batch versus Delta Squad. I want them to go
Ooh.
Republic Commandos, of bringing them in, and I apologize for my little.
I was like,
dog. I don't know if you can
whose
hear.
dog is
Is
that?
that what's her name?
Suki, yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
Yes. Dog.
Baby Cam. Oh my god.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, she's being a little rambunctious right now.
Like dogs know when you're on camera. Now I'm gonna
Yep.
scream to go outside, even though I just went outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want them to bring like who better to take down this elite group of commandos than another elite group of commandos, and this would be like this is an elite group that is all uniform, and then they end up taking down Sev and kidnapping him. I don't know. We'll see. But I think that would be really cool, especially if they could also maybe toss Cody into the mix or something like that. But
You'd also be throwing a bone to a lot of those old school a Republic Commando guys who have been begging for like that to be rebooted a little bit. I think there was a book series about Republic Commando and then Imperial Commando.
yep,
That would be
Ken
a
Travis.
nice. Yep, it would be a nice little reference to that story. Maybe even throw some bones there. I'm really mad because none of those books have the book doesn't have an audio book, and I'm really upset.
That's true.
Because I was like, I need to listen to it on my way to work or something, man. Like, come on.
I searched for a very long time before I found that out.
Yeah.
But those Republic Commandos, they are canon. We do see them in one episode of the Clone Wars in the background. So
God bless you,
That is
Dave
a
Filoni. So let's throw this in there just so we can say we did.
all right. So another thing that was high on our list was Lando. So we really don't know anything about Lando at all. I think it most definitely has to be Donald Glover, but we
yeah.
could still be wrong. But I'll go to Megan first if you don't mind. What do you
Sure.
think? What do you want to see in a Lando show?
Oh, if it's Donald Glover, I'm super excited. Because I just think he did a fantastic job. Young Billy D. Williams, that was great. Let's see. I want to see, like, I don't know how, kind of like in Solo, we kind of see how Han Solo gets like his swagger, like gets like his, confidence and whatever. I think that to see how Lando maybe, gets his confidence, gets his, obviously he's a great card player, great gambler, but how did he get
Where
that
does-
good?
Yeah, where does he get
Yeah,
the Falcon?
Just take her, like, yeah. How did he get the Falcon? I mean, just all of it, his whole life. I just want to know it all.
Yeah, I mean, so many like small things like where did he get the Falcon from? There's a really good comic of him where we get to see what actually happens with Lobot. But how did this like guy come from nothing and then be the administrator of Cloud City?
Yeah,
Like,
really.
don't tell me he won Cloud City in a bet.
Yeah. It's possible to do that. Jeez.
How did he get that good?
Yeah, I won chairman of the Joint Chiefs in a bet the other day. Yeah, ordering troops over.
But how about you, Aaron? Like, what do you want to see? What do you think we could see in Lando?
I gotta be frank with you though. I'm not really interested in Lando. I'm sorry.
I got
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong.
kind of
you know,
on that.
you guys know me. I'm never gonna ruin it for anyone else. But the big thing, what Megan was pointing out is, I want to see how he got to the position that he was. But not only that, but how did he get, the ship that we've all known to come and love? And the thing is, one thing leads to another, and I don't know. I'd be interested in seeing how he got to where, we see him in the original trilogy. But to be honest, it's not a show I'm gonna be like, hey, it's there, boom, click, watch,
Right.
But
Well, also considering his ties to like the criminal element of the world, you think we could also see Kira in the show? You think we might be able to see Maul running the crime syndicate? I don't know. What do you think, Josh?
I mean, okay, well, I'm not super ecstatic about Lando myself. I agree with Aaron on that one. I would like the show. I think it would be a really cool thing if the show took on as if it was directed by somebody like Phil Lord and Chris Miller or something like that, where it's like, it's every episode is almost anthology, where where like it's bookended with Billy D. Williams and he's telling the story. And then in the story, it's Donald Glover as Lando. I don't know. Find a way to make it spicy and all over the place. And like, he's an unreliable narrator or he stretches the truth. Like, say, like, and so we were just talking to these guys and like it flashes back and he's actually just in a shootout with them or something like that. And it's, I love stuff like that. Like, just make it funny. Like, I feel like a Lando show needs to be funny, like entertaining. Like, you have to be like, oh my gosh, like this mad lad is just swindling all of these people. It's like, that's insane. Like, there's a comic where Lando slept with an imperial governor and stole something. I was like, this dude's breaking the hearts of the Empire's elite, dude. Come on, man. And so like I'd love to have stories like that where they kind of just go balls to the wall with it. I feel like go ambitious with it. It's a Lando Calrissian show, something that quite frankly many of us probably never knew that we would ever get. So now that you have it, it's like, go nuts with it. But what was the question you were asking me initially, Brandon?
Oh no, just curious if Kira might make an appearance in there. We could get Kira. We could get like Sana Staros. We could get Dr. Afro in there. I'm just curious what you think.
I don't know. I mean, Kira, I feel bad for saying this, but like, I've always felt like, even though I really liked Solo, I don't know. I guess Kira being in it would be fine. I'm not overly ecstatic about it because I don't know what she's doing now. It's like, I don't know what they're doing. Like that was part of the problem with how they like made the decision to kind of like step away from the anthology films now when they did. Cause I kind of wanted to, I think a story like that needs kind of relatively immediate follow-up. I was like, well, dang, now I want to know what Kira's up to. Cause now she's just going to leave. And it's like, I don't know what's happening. I want to know what she's doing now. And now that they're like, oh, like, what if she makes an appearance in Lando? I'm like, I don't care. It's like cool, I guess. I don't know. No disrespect to Emilia Clarke or Alden Ehrenreich.
Ehrenreich is how I say it.
Ehrenreich.
That could be equally wrong.
Because I think they did great jobs. Especially considering the production hell that movie went through. But I just, the whole Lando thing, I'm just like, I don't care. I treat it the same way, and you guys may not agree, and that's okay. But I would treat it the same way I would treat how I'm watching WandaVision. It's interesting. It's cool. I'm excited where she's going to end up because I think it's going to have something to do with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness if she's going to show up in that movie. I think she is. But like every time a new episode comes out and it's like 30 minutes long, kind of like, I feel like I just kind of want to wait until it's all out and then I'll just go back and, because with Mandalorian, I had to sit back and be like, I need to see every single episode now. But with like WandaVision, I'm like, how many episodes are there now? 4? All right, I guess I'll start watching it. It's like, that's kind of where I am with that.
Okay, no, that's fair. All right, another one that we got coming up is Rogue Squadron. Right, will be directed by Patty Jenkins, whose father was a fighter pilot. I think there could be there's a lot of potential in this one. I'm curious, how you guys are feeling, or because we still don't know exactly what era this is. I think we've seen hints that it might be the future, so I don't know if this is going to be like a future iteration of Rogue Squadron, and not necessarily the same one that Luke was piloting, but there is a whole period where, when Luke was separated from everyone in Empire Strikes Back, Rogue Squadron was still going without him. I don't know if this could be their missions at that point in time. We have a lot of possibilities. So I am curious. I can't remember who I started with last time, so I'll go to Aaron. If you have any excitement towards this one.
I grew up on the original Battlefront 2 and Battlefront, and I've always been a terrible pilot. Like I'm not meant for it. But if in real life, if I could sit in the cockpit and fly around space, I would love it. To be honest with you, I'm a bit excited about it. I get to learn a bit more. There's a lot to starships I really don't know, and it'd just be another opportunity to collect more knowledge. And I think it's going to be great. It's going to be cool, especially she may pay more maybe not tribute, but I don't know what the word is, homage to you said it was her grandfather or is her father
Her
as
father,
pilot?
Father,
her actual
yeah.
Okay.
father.
Yeah, so maybe there'll be like a number that's, you know, very consistent with the same, you know, plane or whatever that he piloted, you know, just I think it'd be cool and something maybe heartfelt that she puts out there, you know, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, because Patty Jenkins has shown that she's done a great job with making you love like these individual characters, and also if you did enjoy Wonder Woman 2, that's okay. It doesn't mean she's not a great director. Like I feel like people are they're so quick to like turn, oh, I didn't like this film, so you're bad. But understanding the small things, the moments in between the moments, if we can understand, I feel like there's too much attention on the big spectacle, the big fight scene, where if she can focus on these individual pilots and who they have waiting for them at home, and like this one, you know, may have just had a baby girl, and he hasn't gotten to meet his own daughter yet, and he's going into battle knowing that, like, those are the type of things that when you have the big scene, it's so important because you know, and like the fact that she was that baby girl at one point in time, I don't know, I think she can really hammer down on that. I don't know, what do you think, Josh?
I agree wholeheartedly. I've always been, I mean, the moment they announced it, I mean, I was walking my dog when I was checking my phone and they were like, Patty Jenkins directing Rogue Squadron. I was like, I literally was like, no fucking way. Like, just out, I said it out loud because I've been waiting for like, and I had just been talking to my buddy a couple days before like any of that got announced. I was like, you know what I really want? I want like Top Gun, but Star Wars. And my friend was like, what do you mean? I was like, you know exactly what I mean. I want Top Gun, but just put them in X-Wings. Like, that's literally all I want. And even though I know it's not going to be Top Gun, but Star Wars, like, that's the type of aesthetic I want. I want something that's centered around, like, I want a story around the flying of Star Wars instead of, like, the Force. It's awesome. Like, clone troopers, battle droids, whatever. But like, imagine like the Scarif battle, but it's the entire movie. Like, the Scarif battle is already like, I think, elite Star Wars material. Imagine that being a 2 hour 15-minute movie. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. How about you, Megan?
I'm gonna have to agree. I don't know, an entire amount about like X-Wings and things like that. Like, I know stuff about starships, but I think it'll be really cool to see them up close and personal. And then, more stories on some of the pilots. I think that's going to be cool. Like you said, seeing the actual stories of like, a baby girl at home and the dad hasn't met her yet because he's, out fighting and things like that. So yeah, maybe some cameos. I don't know. We'll have to see. But
Ooh,
yeah,
cameos.
starships are always cool.
Who might you want to see show up?
Oh, I have no idea. I just hope that there are some.
I got Wedge.
There you go.
Somebody like maybe Luke. I guess Luke, depending.
Porkins Jr.
Porkins, Jorkins.
Poor guy.
And he
Don't
too is,
bad
and he
Coleman
too,
Trevor. I mean, come on.
he too is having trouble like piloting his X-wing. He's like, oh, the controls are failing. It's like just like your freaking father. Jesus.
Who knows? Maybe Trapper Wolf is in there, the character that Dave Filoni plays in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That actually would be plausible too. I could see that happening. He makes like a cameo. It's like he's like a member of another squad and he gets saved by Rogue Squadron or something. That would be awesome.
Oh, the obvious one, Hera.
Yeah.
Hera Syndulla could be in it. They could.
Star Wars Rebels.
I know who it is. I just haven't seen Rebels.
Yeah. Same thing with the cartoons. No, I figured as much. But if Hera, because we know after that the events in Rebels, Hera was manning this huge ship that all these different squadrons are based out of. She's in the game Squadrons with that. She's in the Alphabet Squadron books with that. And yeah, there's a lot of things that we could delve down into. Who knows? Maybe this is a future iteration where we get Jason Syndulla as one of the
Ooh.
The
I know who that
that's
is,
it.
even though I haven't seen the show.
Okay, all right. So, next up we have the Book of Boba Fett.
Mm.
Ooh.
Um,
Oh, I'm jealous.
I need.
Hot Topic, hottopic.com.
Nice.
absolutely. So for this one, we are going to we're gonna go to Josh first.
Okay. Yeah. I'm really excited for Max. Really? Sorry, it's my dog. He just I don't understand, man. I just yeah, I'm really excited for the Book of Boba Fett. I don't know exactly what they said they're going to be a bunch of bounty hunters from well-known bounty hunters that will make an appearance in some form or
Awesome.
fashion. And I'm hoping like I'm wondering like is this Boba taking over the criminal empire or is he becoming a bounty hunter again? Is this like his new guild? Like I would really love something like that. What if he's forming his own guild? He's just basing it out of Jabba's palace or something. Like that would be a lot of fun. Like I would really like a situation where Boba's like muscling in on other people's turf and they're like, who the hell are you? And he's like, oh yeah, you you don't want to mess with me, buddy. It's like, trust me, Junior. And so yeah, I would
Rumors of my death were greatly imaginated.
right, greatly exaggerated. Yeah. But yeah, no, anything with more Tamura Morrison is all right in my book, in my opinion.
Yeah. How about you, Megan? What do you want to see? Any predictions?
Oh, I'm so excited. So actually I made like one of my first like Star Wars TikToks that I ever made back in October. At the very end it said, what character do you want to see more of? And I said Boba Fett. So you can thank me for this show. No, I'm just kidding. I'm excited just to see Boba Fett in action, see more of him, more bounty hunters, Bosk. I've been saying that I've wanted to see more of him for a while. I don't know why. I just think that, we didn't really see that much of him. So it's cool. All the other bounty hunters. I want to hear him call other women princess. I think that's going to be great. Him just straight up kicking ass, like taking over turfs and things like that. I think the idea of him creating his own like empire thing is so cool, like helping good and bad, maybe. I don't know. I think that it's just going to be great. I think that it's going to be super exciting. So
the dude has rockets that shoot out of his knee.
literally.
Yes.
I don't even understand that sentence, but
Knee rockets. It's like what? I looked at a whole bunch of reactions on YouTube and like they lost their mind. It's the knee rockets. I was like, huh? What? Jeez. Under what situation do you use those? Like,
but how about you, Aaron?
Oh, I love Boba. I do. I have to be frank though. I've always loved Boba, but when I thought that he was dead, I became a back burner fan. I just kind of put him in the closet. I was like, you know what? That's a nice jacket. I'll wear it, if the jacket ever needs, anyways. But when I first saw him, you could ask my wife too. I damn near blew out her eardrum. I was like, what? Boba, what? Like I was just going crazy. My predictions for him, they're just, I don't know. I'm left kind of speechless with these, but for the most part, I think he's on a spiritual journey, whether it's on, a good terms, bad terms, because I read somewhere, I don't know if this is true or not, but the stripes on his helmet, they were yellow, which for Mandalorian, that was for revenge. And, of course, don't put him and Mace Windu in a room together. That won't be good. But now they're painted, I think, red or orange, one or the other, which is more so like honoring his father. And I think that was like a big change in him that came out of the Sarlacc, because if we do get to see him, struggle and whatever got him free from it, you can see his mindset change from maybe worrying about getting revenge on others to, I need to protect this armor. I need to get that armor back, and I just need to just get my life together. Cause he started, obviously he still had Slave One, but it seems like he started from scratch, like from bare bones, nothing. And now we're going to see him like how Josh and Megan were saying, he's either going to run around and just take over everyone's turf, or he's going to just build up his own empire, whether for the good or bad. And I don't know if he's still going to be out for money from, the First Order now if he's going to take out contracts for them. But either way, like Josh was saying as well, Tamora Morrison, I'm so happy to have him back on, and especially live action.
Mm.
And I'm jealous of Megan's shirt. I need to go get one.
Me
But
too.
I just couldn't believe it, and I was so excited.
I
Yeah.
cried.
Well, I mean, what? Yeah, what were you guys' thoughts when he swaggered into into Jabba's palace and just murked Bib Fortuna? Which, by the way, even as a kid, Bib Fortuna scares the piss
He
out of me
freaked
because
me
he's
out,
just
man.
like,
Yeah, a little weird looking, just a little.
Ugh.
Just a bit, right?
As a dental assistant, his teeth
Ugh.
scare me.
Ugh.
very
King
bad.
gingivitis. What the? Oh my god.
like
Oh,
when I
God.
found out that he was a Twi'lek, I was like, "The hell's wrong with you?"
Yeah, yeah. I'm so glad I'm not. I'm so glad I'm not the only one that took like years for me to realize. Like, wait, you're a Twi'lek. What the hell?
Yeah, it's like he was born out the armpit or something. Like, what happened to you?
And then my man's was doing his Orin Frita impression in the most recent, right before he died.
I mean, he was living large, eating well.
In every sense of the word.
I was
have-
just blindsided.
Oh, I was like, oh, like out loud at 3 a.m, like, oh.
What is that? Oh man.
I
You
got-
somehow looked worse now than you did in Return of the Jedi. How?
Also, in this one, he looks up and he's like, "Boba."
Boba!
So good to see you.
Right? Hey, buddy.
McClunky.
Right? I love how Boba just has absolutely none of it too. He's just like Boba has already decided when he walks in, I'm going to kill him if he's in there. And it's just like
Me wanna wanga. Yeah, it made me happy. Also, just Fennec's smile as she like just killed a bunch of people. He grabs his drink and like leans on the throne. I don't know. We stand our Mulan in this house, our cavalry, if you will.
yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay, and so we've kind of made it through all of the projects except for my most anticipated one, Ahsoka. And so yeah, I gotta hear your thoughts. This one is to start with Megan. I know you haven't seen Clone Wars, but you've at least seen enough of her to know she's a force to be reckoned with. And,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So what are your thoughts for Ahsoka?
So my thoughts are I'm excited. I know and I heard and I've seen that the background to the shows like where it says Ahsoka, that's the world between worlds, right?
Yeah.
Kind of resembles it, yeah.
No,
So they-
it matches up with if you take the galactic map, the points on it match up with the Virgin Scatter and like it. Yeah, definitely.
So that could bring a lot of opportunities into the show. I don't know. I guess it's set during the timeline of Mandalorian, correct? So Thrawn, I mean, probably, most likely.
Yeah. I mean, she did say that's who she was looking for.
Yeah,
that's
she's
who
looking for him.
Ezra, I don't know. I hear that name brought up a lot. I know who it is, even though I haven't seen all the stuff. I've done my research, people. I can't get called a fake fan, okay?
No one here would ever call you.
Nobody would
I know,
ever.
I know. Y'all are good. Y'all are good to me. Thank you. But her speaking about, thinking about Anakin, anything to do with her, like, and Anakin is gonna break. I mean, that'll just break me. It'll just ruin my life. So, I hope she does. And I hope it ruins my life because I need that.
hurts so good.
Hurts so good.
I mean, I do think about that a lot if, because depending on the time, well, again, we don't know the full extent of this timeline.
Right.
In my heart of hearts, I believe that what we saw in The Mandalorian is going to take place during the show.
Okay.
But I want to see, did Force Ghost Anakin say anything to her?
Yeah, really.
Ooh.
That would be really cool to experience. Like post Return of the Jedi, like after we see him smile on to Luke, like that's pretty much the latest we've ever seen, other than the Rise of Skywalker. I'm talking to Rey, disembodied voice. I'd really love a scene where he kind of appears before Ahsoka and, talks to her about everything that's even if it's only a few minutes. Like that would be a very powerful. Just bring Hayden back in to do everything.
Really.
Make it for lost time. Like, sorry for the 15 years you've been gone here. Like, be in everything from now on.
How about you, Aaron? What are you thinking of on it?
I can agree with all three of you guys for sure on this. I don't have the jacket, of course, but you would know if you asked me. Like in my top circle of favorites, Ahsoka's definitely one of them. I love her character development. She's like that. I don't want to sound terrible when I say this. Like she's like that dumb, annoying sister that's killing all these clones on
Yeah.
accident, getting in her own way.
Yeah.
Which Filoni was just perfect. And then you see her grow. If you would take old Ahsoka in Clone Wars and put her right next to, Ahsoka when we see her in the show or even in the Mandalorian, just vast difference, just crazy. But actually, if you could see it, I got a poster right there. I just got it off Walmart. I just found it.
Right?
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
love
see
her
it.
lightsabers. But anyways, what I really look forward to is like everything that you guys are touching on. The Thrawn. I want to see him live action. I really do like Thrawn. I haven't read any books or anything, but just his character is great. But I really want to see what happened between her and Rebels and the Mandalorian, since it takes place right parallel. I just want to see what she's been up to. And my favorite thing that I don't know which one you said it about Anakin reaching out to her. Ooh, like imagine him basically going up to like Star Wars heaven and then seeing everyone that he's like slaughtered or whatnot, being like, "Hey guys,
Yeah. Oopsie.
I'm good again." Like,
That
yeah,
that was one of the first TikToks I ever saw from Josh. Was him doing that of like Anakin like becoming one with the Force, and then like it's Yoda smiling and nodding, and then Obi-Wan smiling and nodding, and then Mace Windu.
And Mace Windu's over here like,
yeah. He's trying
damn,
to be
that was
buddy.
yeah, that was a long time ago. I remember doing that.
He's yeah.
One thing I do want to see though, because in the Mandalorian we see that she has the Silka beads again that were her Padawan braid. Instead of, she doesn't have hair obviously, so she had the Silka bead. Those were hanging on her in the Mandalorian. Of course, that episode was called The Jedi, and the way that she talked, I mean, I know some people were expecting her to say "I'm no Jedi," and she didn't. The episode was called The Jedi, and the way that she spoke about Grogu, I'm curious if she considers herself to be a Jedi again. I mean, if you can imagine her being, so rebellious because of her master, obviously, and like, oh, and they're, the Jedi doing this and doing that, and then seeing Vader and being like, oh, that's why they said not to do those things, because of him, because
Yeah.
I may have been too rash.
Errors have been made. Well,
Everybody
like
makes mistakes.
everybody makes mistakes. But I always felt like, especially after seeing season 7, I always felt like when she's like, "I'm not a Jedi," like it always felt temporary to me when she said that kind of stuff. Like I always had this deep feeling like, oh, when the time is right, she's gonna go back to not calling herself one, but considering herself a Jedi. Even when she goes back to the council and like in the one of the final episodes of season 7, and she's talking to Mace Windu and Yoda, and she's like, "I did my duty as a citizen," and he's like, "Well, not as a Jedi," and she's like, "No, not yet, at least." It's like she's still working through that stuff, and she still doesn't. She's not quite ready to look into that again. And so I think personally, after 20 years of probably trying to figure that stuff out. And then probably at some point she probably ran into Luke. I have a sinking feeling that she probably ran into Luke in some form or fashion at some point. And after knowing all that she knows, I think she's probably like, yeah, I'm not like arrogant and dogma filled and blind like the old Jedi were, but I think what a Jedi should be, I'd like to aspire to consider myself that one. So I think eventually she's going to come around. And I agree with you, Brandon. I think she does probably consider herself one again by that point of the Mandalorian.
Yeah. And also, definitely need to see a live action Thrawn, live action Chiss Ascendancy. We'll see what goes on there. I don't want it to be Robert Downey Jr.
Please no.
No.
Please stop. Why?
When those rumors come out, I was like, I mean, I know I mentioned Taika Waititi, but he could be Hondo. Like, I would love to see RDJ Hondo.
I wouldn't hate that at all.
I have a question. Why does no one want Robert to play as Thrawn? I've only barely heard about this.
I just think there's only better people to play him, probably. My opinion.
I love Robert Downey Jr., but it just doesn't feel like a. Where did that even come from? Like, that was the first thing. I was like, he was trending on Twitter,
It was
and I was like,
Star Wars fans off.
yeah. And I was like, why? Like, what about it? Oh, because he's so good. I was like,
And
there are tons of good I mean, Robert Duvall is a good actor. Do you want him for Thrawn? I just felt like
Willem Dafoe.
I'm not. Yeah. I mean, I'm not used to. I don't think I'd ever get used to seeing Robert Downey Jr. play somebody like Thrawn. Not to say that I don't think he has the capabilities of playing like a drama
Right.
or a completely different character from Tony Stark. I think he absolutely has the talent and experience to do something like that. But somebody like Thrawn, when I feel like there are better choices out there for that character, including the one that voiced him in Star Wars Rebels, I personally felt like, I don't know, I think it's just a waste. You could have easily spent a lot less money picking a better casting.
And that's what it comes down to for me. I think that a lot of people look at Thrawn as space Sherlock. So then anyone who's ever played Sherlock gets tossed in as
Benedict
casting.
Cumberbatch.
But Thrawn is not space Sherlock, at least not in that way. Thrawn does not have, like, the way the character is without ego. He doesn't have like, he'll say things and people are like pissed off, and he's like, "Oh no, I only said that because that's what I meant." Doesn't know. There's no ego. He doesn't condescend to people, and there's just nothing that I've ever seen from Robert Downey Jr.'s body of work that leads me to believe that he would be a good choice. I'm not saying he can't do it. He definitely could potentially do it, but he's such a big name actor at this point in time that normally when you bring in a big name actor or a big name director, it's because you're using those as selling points for your project, right? And so if you come, like, people go to the Rock movies because they want to see The Rock, and he's just The Rock, just in a different situation. This is The Rock in the jungle. Actually, he's in the jungle a lot.
He is.
A ton.
Like,
One would argue too much.
but you are going to see The Rock. That's the character you want to see. Like, if you're selling it based off of Robert Downey Jr., what's the Robert Downey Jr. you're selling that you're expecting people to want to come see? You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I see it. And because of his life, who he is as a person, that's why he was cast as Tony Stark. Because Tony Stark, like, he really mimics that of having a rich and famous father and then him getting into drugs and alcohol and all this stuff, and then having to have his own redemption arc as a human, like, lent himself to that character. I just don't see it for Thrawn. He might be able to do it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, they'd have to hold on to him and do it for a few seasons to get me to come around to it. Because if it's a one episode thing, I don't think I'd ever get used to it. Like, oh God, why did they?
Also, you can hire Dan Stevens for like a fraction of the cost, or
Yep.
you know what I mean, like a fraction. You'd have to back up a dump truck for I don't know. Um, but so that kind of covers all of the projects that are upcoming. Now I gotta hear you guys pitch your own project, your own dream. Like you have the green stamp button. You can greenlight any Star Wars project ever. And Megan, what are you gonna make happen?
I think you guys already know. Um, it's gonna be a Ben Solo. It's gonna be a Ben Solo. Probably just a movie though, not a show. But yeah, I just need to see more of young, like Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. I just would really like to see that and his whole. I know there's like comics and stuff out there, but I want to see it in a movie. So,
Okay, so what part of his life are we gonna see him fall to the dark side? We're gonna see him starting out in the First Order. What do you want to see?
I'm gonna say early, like when Luke is training him. I want to see that. I want to see, yeah, his fall to the dark side, like his rise and his fall. Yep.
That'd be really cool. Because I mean, we do know he's going on. He's even going on missions and stuff with Luke, and like they're going off to find artifacts. We could get a live action version of the scene where they first meet the Knights of Ren, and
Yep.
Luke just straight like makes them look like clowns. It's actually
Yep.
pretty funny. Okay. No, I would love that, especially because I feel like there's a lot to his story that we just didn't see. I would even love to see the sequel trilogies told from his perspective. What was
Yeah.
happening behind
Yeah.
the scenes?
That would even be great.
Um,
Just anything more of Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Just give me more. That's all I want.
And how
His fall to the dark side was one of the main things I wanted to see, even though they did it in comics. It's the same thing with Vader, like shortly after Revenge of the Sith. Like these are all stuff that while it's really awesome to see in comic book form or
Yeah.
in novel, I really want to see this stuff on the screen. Like when people are like, yo, guys, did you know that right after Vader screams like no when he gets off like the hospital bed, he like force pushes Palpatine into a wall? I'm like,
Why did we
that would
see
have been that would have been nice to see. I don't, they're like, oh, but like the comics are important too. I'm like, I know that, but like, not everybody will ever know that. Like, nobody will ever know that Vader tried to murk Palpatine shortly after that. No, like stuff like that's awesome. And the same thing with Ben Solo. Like, I'd love to see under what circumstances did he like do what he did to screw over Luke's Jedi Academy that never was,
man, I'm gonna like make a petition. I want Star Wars Disney to like make a rule that if a comic hits a certain amount of like money or circulation, that they have to animate it.
Yeah, it needs
You
to
know
be
what I mean?
adapted. Yeah, at least to a show.
But that would
Something.
also make us as fans vote with our money of like, oh, this is an awesome shoot. I'll buy an extra copy.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
by
fair.
17?
Yeah. I know. How about you, Aaron? You get the green light your Star Wars project. What's it gonna be?
Ooh, there was two options that popped up in my head. First was Din Djarin. I wanted a movie, just obviously we don't see a lot of him in The Mandalorian yet, of at least like the more personal side of him. Obviously, he's opening up a lot more, and season 2 was just fantastic at displaying that. But also just Mandalorians in general. If I don't know if any of you guys are interested in cons or anything like that, but you tend to see a quite a big group of Mandalorians. And before I was exposed to it, I was like, what's a Mandalorian? What's a Mandalore? Like, I was I was just so out of the loop. But ever since I started figuring out and doing some more research, I found them very interesting. They're very family oriented. The houses, the clans, things matter. they take things to heart. They're very caring people, but they have no problem throwing down, and I love that balance. But maybe if we see live action in the show, I'd be happy about it. But man, I want more. But Din Djarin or the Mandalorians in general.
I'd
Yeah,
love
the
a
Mandalorian,
Mandalorian movie.
the Mandalorian culture as it exists is a perfect like middle ground between what the Sith and Jedi both represent
Yeah.
of community, and because they do look at each other like family and they do love each other. There's lots of misconceptions of like, no, they're just cold. No, they really do care about each other very deeply.
There's a line from oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, keep talking.
Oh, but yeah, but have that on one side, but the Sith who are craving power, and you have to rise up through the ranks through your martial capabilities. Like, it's a perfect in between, makes him a perfect foil for both, and we should explore that. But what were you gonna say, Josh?
I was gonna say, if you guys remember, oh gosh, it's already been 10 years when the Old Republic MMO first came out. There was like an ad campaign, almost a hype campaign, where they talked about, because the Old Republic is happening when the Sith Empire comes back after being away for thousands of years, like a whole bunch of lore behind it. I don't even dare get into the Old Republic lore yet. I'm not ready to go into that can of worms, but
It's amazing.
he did. Yeah, it is amazing. But one of the ad campaigns was like, it was like a Jedi Master during that time period, who's a Keldor, who's Plo Koon's species, is telling the story pretty much of how they got to this point. So he starts at the most recent big event that happened, and then he goes further and further back after each little 3-minute episode that he's talking about. And one of the episodes, he's talking about Mandalorians. And even back then, even 2011, 2010, when it wasn't even really considered canon or anything, there was no Disney acquisition of Star Wars yet in 2010, 2011. He's describing Mandalorians, and he's describing them exactly how you describe them. He's like, war is a Mandalorian way of life. He said, but they're not like our dark counterparts. They're not like the Sith. He said, Mandalorians believe that combat and fighting is good for growth rather than, just for the sake of a lust for power. He said, and there's even something respectable about their rugged sense of honor. But then he quickly caveats that.
Came unplugged.
Technology today is just fighting us.
Oh, like look at me, I'm all
Well,
frozen.
You guys hear me?
yes.
Oh, there we go. He was in the middle of like the greatest speech ever, and then it was like, nope.
Yeah. No. What you're saying though is cool because of especially I read the Revan book, and also if you play Knights of the Republic, you find out more stuff about them, and like the Mandalorians almost took over everything. They had that potential. Mm-hmm. They almost won the war. They almost won the war, and when we get to see like Pre Vizsla versus Maul, it's not an easy fight for anyone. Like, they are top of their game. But yeah, what were you saying, Josh?
I was almost done, I promise. He said, there's even something respectable about their rugged sense of honor, but they quickly caveats that with, but they are not our friends. And it's like, they've costed us dearly in history. Like, they've always historically gone against the Jedi Order and everything that the Jedi Order stands for. So they're constantly at odds, even though they're nothing like the Sith. It's kind of like a different adversary entirely. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. There's so many things going on right now. Power just shuts off, and then like, oh, the mic just decides to turn off. It's like, okay.
Absolutely. That's just funny. Awesome. And and then also, what is your pitch? What movie or project are you gonna greenlight, Josh?
Well, gosh, this one's hard because there's so much that I've always wanted to happen, and they're actually doing it. Like I've been waiting for a like a Boba Fett series. I've been waiting for something like I've been waiting for an Obi-Wan series. Those would have been the first two things I would have suggested. I would not mind if they centered a series, a live action series, or a movie, probably a movie, around maybe like a clone trooper or something like that. Like I'd love like a situation where they kind of do like a, because like for the majority of the movie you could do like an, Tamara Morrison's wearing his helmet, so he doesn't have to take it off all the time. And the few times he does take it off, you can age him down with that billions of dollars of Disney CGI movie money that you have. I'd love like a situation where it's like a clone trooper, like just a random clone trooper. Set it around like a massive battle happens. Maybe he gets separated, just like make it a typical survival. I've always wanted like a live action clone trooper movie. I felt like, it would rectify a lot of like the really painfully overly CGI'd clones that we see in episode 2 and episode 3, because I remember how crushed I was when I found out that absolutely none of them were actually there. I was like, what? They're like, yeah, all of them are CGI'd. Isn't that cool? I was like, no, it's not. It's like, you mean none of them are actually there? Yeah, well, Tamara Morrison's a floating head. It's like, yay, lovely. But yeah, I'd love like a movie that kind of focuses in on the horrors of war. Maybe even make battle droids kind of scary again. That would be really cool.
Yeah. That would be interesting.
You ever play Republic Commando? You ever tried to fight a super battle droid in that game?
Yeah.
Terrifying. Terrifying.
Which is actually, believe it or not, one of the things that I enjoy having, like some solid separation between Legends and canon, because the strength of a super battle droid varies so wildly,
right,
depending on like the 2003 Clone Wars. You have Mace Windu without a lightsaber beating hundreds of them,
an army of them. There were no B1 battle droids. They were all just like the big hulking ones.
But then you have Republic Commando, where like if one shows up, like you had better have your rocket attachments, your anti-armor attachments. It's interesting.
Yep.
And so I've talked about my dream project a couple times, but for anyone that hasn't heard it, I want a story. It's told from Rey's perspective. It's her putting together what will become the future of the Jedi Order, but she has all of these ancient texts, right, that she inherited from Luke, and it has all of his hand-scribed notes and things like that in them. So I want it to be an anthology series about Luke in his prime. And she's trying to set up this, and she picks up the ancient text and turns to a page, reads Luke's hand-scribed notes, and then we flash back to what happened. Where did Luke, what crazy adventure did he go on, and what force-sensitive, like, group of people did he meet that taught him this lesson, that made him scribe these notes. And each week, it's Luke in his prime on crazy adventures, but we get to see how those adventures are going to shape what the future of the Jedi are going to be. That's what I would do.
That's really
Very good.
As somebody who's been begging for Prime Luke and damn near cried when he showed up in The Mandalorian, like I would love a series that centers around that.
Yeah, I mean, we could even just break down and tell the story of how he found each of the children that were going to be at his school and
that are about to die. Wow, what a beautiful moment. It's a shame that Kylo Ren murks him in like 5 years.
Yeah, but again, that really hammers home what he lost. And really puts that into perspective, and I think that's important. Other than that, I need a TV show that is the Darth Bane trilogy. I need it like a Game of Thrones style TV show where we are following a young Dez was his name first, and then it flashes to the Sith Jedi War that's happening. We get to meet like Valentine Farfalla and Lord Kopesh and all this stuff. and we just watch this whole thing unfold. That I think that would be amazing. But now reading the High Republic, I need some of that. So
Yep.
I don't know. Um, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out and joining me on this discussion. It was a lot of fun to kind of pick your guys' brains and see. It's awesome that we can have a fandom where everyone's thoughts, opinions, the things that we really are drawn to and like are wildly different. And to me, that's why I want to talk to you guys, because it's different. That's what makes it a conversation. So I think, yeah, I just want to thank you guys all for coming out. But let's go around, and I want to hear what your guys' closing thoughts are, as well as where we can find you and all of your stuff.
Ladies first. Go ahead.
No. God dang it. The only time I don't like ladies first. No. My closing thoughts. I love you all. You guys are great. We love non-toxic Star Wars fans, and we love people that can appreciate all of the everything Star Wars and not hate anybody for, if they don't like something or they do like something. Like I mentioned, like the Ryan trilogy or whatever, how I wouldn't be such a fan, and everybody else said, no, I'd really like that. And, I could have been like, well, you guys suck, but
I mean, we do,
I don't
but that's okay.
Yeah, I think that hearing everybody's opinions was really great. I think that getting a perspective from everybody and hearing everybody's thoughts and their predictions is awesome. Because then it gets me thinking on different things. And I'm not one to predict things. I don't like to think about like the future and what's going to happen. I like it to just happen so I can enjoy it for what it is. But you guys changed my my view on that. So I think I might be doing some predictions. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, other than that, you guys can find me on TikTok at Meg Sky Renovi. That's pretty much it.
Awesome.
And thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Nice.
definitely.
I'm honored. I don't know as much as you guys do about Star Wars, but I'm trying.
You don't have to. All you have to
Yeah.
do
I
is,
know.
is love
I
it.
know.
And-
I want to. I wish I could retain it all. Don't we all?
Me too. Yeah, me too. I wish I could retain it all too.
Yeah, it's all good. We appreciate you. And how about you, Aaron?
Oh, Josh, you can go first. I'm still gathering my thoughts.
Oh,
Go
you're
ahead.
fine. All right. Well, thank you for having me again, Brandon. I know this was kind of short notice. I was actually on my way home from work when you reached out to me. I was like, oh yeah, sure. I ain't got nothing to do. Thank you for having me. You guys can find me at Mace. Well,
Windu
Say
now.
it.
yeah, this is so cringe. I don't know why I did this. Mace R Windu, 3 R's. I'm so changing that back in 30 days. Yeah, pirates took over my TikTok channel. I promise you guys I'm still a Star Wars channel at heart. Jesus. So anyway, but I appreciate you having me. I love talking with so many other passionate Star Wars fans, picking each other's brain like you said, learning new stuff. I learn something new every time I talk to you guys. And that means a world to me. And we have discussed this before with different people, but like if there's ever a situation where like when COVID dies down, like, and there's some sort of like event happening or something like that, let's reach out to each other. Maybe we can like do a little thing where we can like meet up or something or take pictures or be nice to each
Star
other.
Wars creator meetup.
Like if we're like,
Yes.
hey, are we both on the East Coast? Like, are you going to the North Carolina, whatever? Me too. You want to meet up? Sure. Like that cool stuff like that. Whenever, because like I've made friends on this app, and like Brandon and I live on the other side of the like we live on 2 separate sides of the country, and it feels like I went to school with this guy. So it's like
We'll
it's-
definitely be hanging out for sure.
yeah,
It's not
down
even
the
a
road,
question.
I'm looking forward to it. So any opportunity I have to interact with you guys, whether it's in person or whatever, is welcome to me. And be sure to send me your ats and stuff. I wanna check you guys out on TikTok. I'm trying to get better at that.
Gosh, I'm just a simp, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, that's okay.
That's all right.
But she brings some of the best simp energy on the app.
Well, as long as it's good simp energy, you know.
Speaking of simp energy, midlife crisis Vader really loves your pirate costume, Josh.
I
So-
appreciate it. Yeah, I guess elephant in the room. Yeah, this time last week, I'll just leave it at that. I had no expectation of any of that happening over the weekend. I think it was like 350,000.
Yeah, props
I,
to you
uh,
though.
I had I had what's her name? Gosh, she's the chick that does the small hands thing.
Oh, I don't know her name, but I know what you're talking
You know
about.
who I'm
Yeah,
talking about. I feel bad that I don't know
she's
her name.
hilarious.
I found out she followed me the other day. They were like, because you know when you somebody follows you in your mutuals, you get the little notification and the send messages thing, and it was like send a message to, and I was like, wait, what? Really? It's a pirate costume. I was like, oh I was like, fine, dude, whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. I'm still kind of numb. I have people in my comments going like, and now they're all gonna leave, and I was like, dude, I didn't ask for any of this. Can you guys leave me? Like, come on, man.
Just give
Jeez.
people what they want.
You're like, no, we got the pirate costume. I'm leaving, but nah, just enough about me. I'm just still kind of in shock. I'm still kind of in shock that it happened. I'm like, oh my gosh.
We all appreciate it. Like I was, you know, when January began, I was like, oh man, I'm close. I've closed that gap, and then Mesa Wendy hit has gained 450,000 since then. But
God damn.
it's all
Jesus,
it's
man.
all good.
It doesn't even look right. I was like, that's not my account. There's no
That's
way.
not me.
There's no way. There's no way. People are like, how do you do it? I was like, I don't fucking know.
Right?
I was like, I don't fucking know. I woke up one day and I was like,
There they
"Geez."
are.
Yeah.
But how you doing, Aaron? Have you put together your final thoughts?
Yes, I think I've put maybe a sentence.
Nice, man.
No, dude, it's something I've been struggling with my whole life. It's like I don't know, it's difficult, but picking a little bit out of both of your guys's I don't know even what to say there. But like Josh was saying, you know, if all of us can get together one day, that would be truly amazing. And I've met, you know, including you guys, which now thanks to Brandon, he's exposed me to both of you guys. I've met some truly wholesome people, like very awesome people, and just with my experience with life, you know, I thought a lot of people were just terrible, like majority of the people. And then now, ever since being on this app, one thing led to another. Now I'm here, and like my perspective has totally changed, and I've met some really, really awesome people, and I'm so grateful and thankful. But you know, I just want to say thank you for having me on the podcast, and hopefully we can do it again. That'd be awesome. And you know, when it comes to everyone in a podcast talking about Star Wars, your perspective on something can be eye-opening no matter what the topic is. And that's what I love. And especially having people from so many different experiences in life just group up together and just vibe. It's awesome. Um, but yeah, if you guys want to find me, you can find me at now it's changed. I'm just like you, Josh, changing my name, but it's just the underscore guide underscore again. Someone else took the underscore guide, and I was like, oh, okay, I see how it is. I'll just add another underscore. But it's the underscore guide. So I do mostly Star Wars, but I'm starting to get into a bit of Marvel and Avatar, but some motorcycle stuff too. But
Nice.
just anything.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, I'm super happy. It's been such a wild ride of joining this app, because like most content creators, you know, I always thought of YouTube and they're these separate people off somewhere,
Okay.
and then there's Instagram where it's all your family members, and you don't care what they're posting anyways. Um, but this one, like, especially with how the algorithm works, you're put in front of other people who are content creators just like you. And again, like you said, we've been able to like make some really awesome and amazing friends, and to meet some just fantastic people through this app, and I will forever be grateful for that. So thank you guys so much for coming on. We will have all of you guys again. So one thing that's tough is every person that I've had on, like, you want to have them again, but you also want to have new people on, and you have
Yeah.
like to balance that. But it's all
Mhm.
good. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and may the force be with you always.
May the
Absolutely.
force be with you.
May the force be with you.
All right, guys, that is where I will end it. But yeah, that was awesome. Let me actually just stop this stream real quick, or change the OBS stream to the stream ended.